And we're back. Welcome to my preview and predictions for night 2 of Matchday 1 in the Europa League, after a night where my best call of the night was that all of the games are going to be relatively close. Of the 9 matches that were played last night, 7 of them were separated by no more than 1 goal. So that just proves how close it was to call last night. Let's see how tight it is going to be in today's matches, and let's see how well we are going to get on. Before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video. If you enjoy all of my prediction series, subscribe with notifications turned on. We have got all 3 European competitions coming for you next week, so all 18 matches from all 3 competitions are going to be covered next week. So it's going to be a massive, massive week on the channel. We also have 2 videos coming for you tomorrow, Premiership and La Liga next round of matches. And as of right now, the community polls for La Liga have just gone live. So make sure you get those votes in ahead of tomorrow's video, because you've only got 24 hours to get those in. Right, without any further ado, these are the 9 matches we have got taking place tonight in the Europa League. We've got 2 early kickoffs and 7 late ones, as always. So let's just get straight into it. The first early kickoff is Go Ahead Eagles of Holland taking on FCSB of Romania. Now, for the Dutch side, it's been an interesting start to their season, shall we say. They qualified for this competition by winning the Dutch Cup last season, a really good achievement for them, allowing them to get back in Europe for the first time in a couple of decades. However, they started the season by failing to win any of their first 4 matches, but they do come into this match off the back of back-to-back wins. So at least they've got a little bit of momentum on their side. For FCSB, they got to the last 16 of this competition last year and then ended up losing. But that's a good foundation for them to build on going into this season. What's not a good foundation, though, is how they've actually started this season. Got knocked out in Champions League qualifying, but to their credit, then got past Drita in Aberdeen in this competition's qualifying to still make it to the league phase. But domestically, they have played 10 matches so far in Romania, and they've only won 1. That was back in week 2 of 10. They're currently 4th from bottom with 7 points from their opening 10 games. Really, really poor start for the away side coming into this match. In terms of the team news, there are no fresh injury concerns for either side, but both teams do have a couple of players that have long-term injuries that are not expected to be anywhere near this fixture. As this is the Go Ahead Eagles' first venture into Europe for a very, very long time, there is naturally no head-to-head record between these 2 sides. Given the starts both of these have made to the season, and certainly the form over the last couple of weeks, for me, it is the Dutch side's game to lose. So I am going to start today's video with a 2-1 victory to the Go Ahead Eagles. The other early kickoff sees us off to France, where we have Lille taking on Brann of Norway. Lille qualified for this competition with their direct qualification from their finish in League 1 last season. However, that is a step down for them, because you'll remember they did make it into the Champions League last season. For Brann, it was an early exit from Champions League qualifying. They went down to Salzburg and then had to get past both Kraken and AEK Larnaca to qualify for this competition. In terms of current form going into this match, Lille have had a pretty damn strong start to the season. They have the most league earned goals in... I can't get my words out. They've got the most goals in league earned so far this season. But they did lose 3-0 at the weekend to Lens, which has kind of killed some of the momentum coming into this. For Brann, their season's actually almost over. They play during the summer. They are on 43 points from 21 matches so far this season, which means they are currently 3rd in the Norwegian League. They are also unbeaten in their last 7 matches, winning 6 of those 7s. They are a team that is in very, very good form coming into this. In terms of the team news, for Lille, there is going to be no Thomas Meunier. He is a potential long-term injury, and Perrault went off last weekend with a slight knock, but he is expected to make it. One player they will have available, though, is veteran Olivier Giroud, who's having another crack at European competitions this season. For the Norwegian side, absolutely no fresh injury concerns at all. Realistically, despite Brann's really good record over the last few weeks, Norwegian football compared to French football is not that comparable. The French side should certainly be the stronger. Player for player, almost every single Lille player is better than the Brann players. So I'm going to go for a strong Lille victory here, especially when you consider how many goals they've been scoring so far. I think Brann will get something, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near enough to get a result. I'm going for a 4-1 victory to Lille. On to the late kickoffs then, and we start off with Aston Villa taking on Bologna. Aston Villa starting the league phase in first place, which is where I think they'll be expecting to be come the end of it. But it's been a horrible, horrible start for them domestically, as any of you know that have been following the Premier League so far this season. They qualified via the actual Premier League finish from last season, as did Bologna, who qualified via their Serie A finish last season. But coming into this, Aston Villa, 2 points from their opening matches in the Premier League and just 1 goal scored, that coming last weekend against a 10-man Sunderland. For Bologna, it's been 2 home wins but 2 away defeats so far in Serie A, and they haven't scored in any of their away games. So I don't expect this one to be a particularly high-scoring match, that has to be said. In terms of the team news, Yuri Tillemans remains out for Aston Villa, although Unai Emery was expected to rotate his team anyway, so I think we are going to see changes regardless of any potential injuries from the weekend. In regards to Bologna, they are only missing Ciro Immobile. The rest of their squad should be fit and available for this one. These two actually do have a recent head-to-head record, a very recent head-to-head record actually, because these two actually played each other in the Champions League phase last season. On that occasion, it was a 2-0 win for Aston Villa at home. Given how poor both of these sides have started, especially Bologna away from home, I do think that it's going to be a very, very low-scoring one. I don't think 0-0 is out of the possibility, but I do have a feeling that Aston Villa are just starting to build things up a little bit. They scored in midweek. Last week in the Cup, they scored at the weekend in the Premier League. I think they might just get something here. So I'm very cautiously going to go for 1-0 to Aston Villa. But again, all 3 results I think could happen in this game. Now we have our second Dutch side of the night in Utrecht taking on our second French side of the night in Lyon. Utrecht got here through all of the qualification rounds of Europa League, beating Sheriff, Servette and Mostar to qualify. Lyon got here through automatic qualification via their league finish. But obviously there was some political hoops, shall we say, for them to jump through to stay in this competition. We're not going to get into that right now. All that matters for them is that they are actually in this competition. That was obviously drama off the field. On the field, though, coming into this for Utrecht, it is 3 wins and 3 defeats at the start of their Eredivisie season. 2 of those 3 wins coming at home. For Lyon, it is 4 wins and only 1 defeat for them so far in Ligue 1. But what's most impressive is that all 4 of their wins came without conceding. So playing some very, very good stuff are they, the French side, this season. Coming into this, in terms of team news, for Utrecht, they are set to be without their top scorer in the qualification phase, which is Jensen. For Lyon, can't say his first name, Corentin Tolisso is suspended for them. You remember he got sent off against Manchester United in that epic second leg back at Old Trafford last season, which saw Lyon get eliminated from the Europa League after that Harry Maguire last-minute winner. So Tolisso is suspended following the red card in that match. No other fresh injury concerns for them coming into this one. There's also no recent head-to-head record to speak of between these two sides, so we're just going on how they've performed respectively in their league so far. I do think this is going to be a little bit closer than many expect, but ultimately I do think Lyon should be favourites, even though Utrecht have a decent home record at the start of this season. I'm backing Lyon, though. I'm going for a 2-0 victory to them. Next up, it is Ferencvaros of Hungary, managed by Republic of Ireland's former international Robbie Keane. They are taking on the Czech side Viktoria Plzen, who are coming into this with an incredibly recent head-to-head record. So much so that in this competition last year, these two ended up playing each other in the playoff rounds, and I can tell you that it was Plzen that came out on top, winning 3-1 over the 2 legs. But what could be crucial in regards to this prediction is that the first leg was played in Hungary and Ferencvaros won it 1-0, with Viktoria winning at home 3-0 in the second leg. So makes it a little bit more of an interesting dynamic. Ferencvaros looking for revenge for getting knocked out by this side last year, but they do have the tactical advantage being the home side, having won that round last year. Coming into this, then Ferencvaros were knocked out of Champions League qualifying by Karabag. We obviously know how well they started their Champions League campaign. Plzen were knocked out by Rangers. Obviously, we're going to talk about them very, very shortly, and then ended up qualifying via that. Coming into this, in terms of recent form, Ferencvaros have actually only returned to action this weekend after having a month out. They drew at home in the Hungarian league. That means they currently sit in 4th place. Plzen also occupy 4th place in the Czech league, and they lost this weekend to Sparta Prague, who are actually playing in the Europa Conference League this season. Incredibly, there is not a single injury or suspension concern for either side coming into this match. Both teams have fully fit squads available to them, so it is basically anything goes. Personally, I really don't think there is much to split between them. Home side are probably just about favourites for this one, but I am going to go for a 1-1 draw here. I honestly think, again, all 3 results are possible. Plzen have the advantage after winning it heavier last year. Ferencvaros won the home game. Very, very, very tight to call. Next up, it is Rangers taking on Genk. And for the Scottish side, as we just mentioned, they beat Viktoria Plzen in the earlier rounds of qualifying in the Champions League, but then came up against Club Bruges, who absolutely obliterated them 9-1 over the 2 legs. And wouldn't you just know it, their first opponent in the Europa League is another Belgian side in Genk. They got here by beating Lech Poznan in qualifying. That was the only round they had to play, so it was near enough straight qualification for them. Just had to win that one game. Since then, though, it's actually been quite poor form for both sides. Rangers, unbelievably, are still yet to get a win in the SPFL and currently sit 2nd from bottom. This is a side who are expected to be competing with Celtic for the title. They're currently in the relegation zone. It's been an incredibly bad start for Rangers. For Ghent, they have failed to win any of their last 3 matches, losing twice at home this week. So really, really not going well for either side at the moment. In terms of injury and suspension concerns, the only serious one I could see for either side is an injury to Karetsas for Genk. But honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see either side make wholesale changes to their squads, as both sides are desperately looking to find wins at the moment. In terms of head-to-head record, there is no recent one to speak of. And it just makes this game a really, really horrible one to call. The only sort of positive you can give either side coming into this match is that Rangers did actually win a football match this weekend, but it was in the Scottish Cup. So how much can you read into that? I really don't know. Ultimately, I do think Rangers at home should be considered the favourite, so I am going to go for a very narrow 2-1 win to them. But honestly, I'm just going to hold my hands up and say this could be absolutely anything. I cannot give you much more info than that. Next up, we have RB Salzburg taking on FC Porto. It's Austria taking on Portugal in this one. Salzburg were another side to actually get eliminated from Champions League qualifying by Club Bruges. However, unlike Rangers' 9-1 defeat, they only lost 4-2. For Porto, it was automatic qualification from them following their league finish in the League of Portugal last season. But what an unbelievable start it has been for them this season domestically. They have played 6, they have won 6, which includes away at 2nd place and Champions League side Sporting Lisbon. And across those 6 games, they have only conceded 1 goal, that coming in that Sporting match. For Salzburg, it's actually been a really poor run of form since losing that game to Bruges. They've failed to win any of their last 3. They've lost their last 2, including at home to Sturm Graz, another Europa League side, who of course played and lost yesterday to Midtjylland. So not really a good look for the Austrian sides at the moment, whereas Porto looking in a really, really strong place. In terms of the team news coming into this, there are a few players missing for both. Salzburg are set to be without Melberg, Kanate and Karumura. For Porto, they have I never say this guy's name properly either. They have Estiquiao. He is out with suspension. He got dismissed in their final game in Europe last season, whereas they also have new signing Luke de Jong out with injury. On paper, I really do think this is a comfortable win for Porto. Yes, Salzburg have a history of producing really talented players, but right now their form just isn't there, whereas Porto's form could not be any better. I'm going to go for a Portuguese win here, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for Porto, keeping up their really strong defensive record. Our penultimate match of the video sees German side Stuttgart taking on Spanish side Celta Vigo. Stuttgart qualified for this competition by winning the German Cup. up like Go Ahead Eagles, a really good achievement for them when they're not expected to win any sort of trophies in Germany, it has to be said. Celta Vigo qualified via their La Liga finish, so they just got straight into the competition. Coming into this match, Stuttgart have won both of their home fixtures in the Bundesliga, but have lost both of their away fixtures. That run includes a win last weekend at home to St. Pauli. For Celta Vigo, if you're a fan of my La Liga videos, you know exactly what sort of form Celta Vigo are in. 5 1-1 draws in a row. Yes, they managed to pull it off, and they got the draw last week against conference side Vallecano. What that means for this match, honestly, I really don't know, because if we're being honest, I do think Stuttgart should definitely be considered the strong favourites for this match, given the players they've got, given the record they have got at home so far this season. But the prospect of a 6th 1-1 draw in a row is incredibly, incredibly tempting. What I will say, though, is in terms of the team news coming into this one, the only sort of serious one I can say is that Dennis Ungedav is a major doubt for Stuttgart. He's not played for a little while. No fresh concerns for Celta Vigo coming into this. As I just said, I do expect Stuttgart to win this match. If I was doing an absolute serious prediction, I'd probably go 2-1 or maybe even 3-1 to Stuttgart for this fixture. But it's my video, and I say it all the time, my predictions are just for fun. The purpose of my videos is to provide you guys with the information for you to make your own decisions. I'm telling you now, Stuttgart should be the strong favourites for this match. But in the sense of fun, and because I just want to see it happen yet again, I'm going for 1-1. 6 in a row. Can it happen? Let's just find out. And then finally, we have one more game to go. It is the Young Boys of Switzerland taking on Panathinaikos of Greece. Young Boys come into this after beating Slovan Bratislava in qualifying. Panathinaikos unbelievably lost to Rangers in Champions League qualifying before, obviously, we all know what happened to Rangers. But to their credit, they then bounced back by beating Shakhtar Donetsk and Samsunspor of Turkey to get here through the Europa League qualification status. Of the two sides, it is the home side that have done slightly better. They have won 3, drawn 2, lost 1. That is enough for 11 points and a 4th place current spot in the Swiss League. Panathinaikos are yet to win and currently sit 3rd from bottom in the Greek League from their opening 3 matches. Okay, it's only been 3 matches, but still, no wins in their first 3 in a division they're expected to near enough dominate at times. Coming into this, no fresh injury or suspension concerns for either side, but there is a long-term injury for Facundo Pellistri of Panathinaikos right now. For me, this is another one of those games where I would say first goal in this match is crucial. I think if Panathinaikos can get it, they should be able to hold on to at least a draw. If Young Boys get it, I think they just go on to win. I do think they're their favourites. I think they're the home side with the more chance of winning the match. So I'm just going to go for the absolute bog standard result of a 2-1 home win to the Swiss side. And that is going to be it for today's video. As always, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. But before I leave you, let's see what you guys have been voting for over on the community page for these matches. You have gone Go Ahead Eagles, Lille, Aston Villa, Lyon, Ferencvaros, just Rangers. Most of you gone for Porto. A lot of you going for Stuttgart. And really split on that final one. Young Boys 44, Panathinaikos 39. I do think, again, we've got a lot of close games here. I think it's a little bit easier to call than certainly yesterday's games, but I definitely think there are some chances of some shock results coming for you tonight. I'll leave you with my final predictions, though, and say a massive thank you very much for watching. As always, we get to do this all over again next week, as well as the Champions League and the Conference League. 2 videos coming up for you tomorrow. It's a very, very, very busy time on the channel. So thank you very much for all of the support you've been giving me so far this season, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning.